It's a new year, but we have a not so new board. Hey guys, it's Whitney. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to 2021. Goodbye 2020. I'm so glad you're gone. Today, we're gonna be playing January Tabletop TBR. So, I hope you guys are as excited as I am that 2020 is over. I can't say obviously what 2021 is gonna bring, but I can hope that it's gonna be better than 2020. Regardless, the reading is gonna continue, so I am gonna be doing Tabletop TBR like normal. I've sort of revamped some things. It's nothing too complicated. For the most part, everything is the same. You roll the dice, you move your character, you land on a color, you draw a card, you get a prompt from the card that correlates with the color that you landed on. There are some perks for rolling nat 20s. There are some downsides, some consequences, that's a better word for it, for rolling natural ones. And then you have the special spaces that are monster spaces that you have to beat, or you get a negative challenge, and ally spaces where you get a more positive challenge. And I have revamped the cards for these. So this is the prompt card now. I don't know if it'll focus. This is the ally card. And this is the monster card. They just sort of match the board now. That is one of the not so big changes, but I think that they're cute, so I decided I wanted to show you. The first change is that I'm going to be rolling to pick however many books I'm going to read. So we're going to roll for initiative, okay? I'm going to use a d20, but it's only going to be 10 because I value my sanity. So basically, if I roll anything over 10, it's kind of divided by 2. If it's an odd number, it either goes up or down depending on what I have written on that paper. So I've really wanted to do, like, build a character with this game ever since I started it, but that would just be really complicated. So I have decided not to do that. Instead, I have decided that I'm gonna do sort of a leveling system. So I can pick what I want to play, but it won't affect anything. But I have come up with a leveling system, and it goes from level 1 to level 20. The levels go up in increments of 500 every level. So 1 to 500 is level 1, 501 to 1000 is level 2, and so on. Graphic novels, manga, and regular novels all have a different point value based on things like how long their page count is. So let me just read you off real quick the point system that I have going right here. So I have novels, regular novels, under 500 pages are 100 points, over 500 pages are 200 points. Graphic novels that are under 200 pages are 50 points, and it is plus 20 points if they are over the 200 pages. And the same goes for manga, except it's if they're over 250 pages, not 200. And to make things a little more interesting, I have decided to implement a consequence. Now, I don't want this to be stressful for me, so I've just implemented the consequence that if I don't finish all the books that I put on my TBR, that I'm gonna have to carry one of them over. So I think that is everything as far as changes and stuff. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and roll initiative. So it looks like we rolled a 15, which correlates to a 7. So that means we're gonna have to do 7 rolls and, you know, potentially pick 7 books, depending on if we land on any monster spaces or anything like that. So for the first roll, this is apparently a good sign for 2021 because it is the 1st of January when I'm filming this, and my first roll of the year, I rolled a natural 20. So please, 2021, I need you to hold up to that standard because it's just a good way to start. So we rolled 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20. And that landed us on a dark blue, which doesn't matter because we rolled a natural 20. We get to pick any prompt we want on the card. So for the first roll, we rolled a natural 20, which means that I get to pick up the prompt card and I get to pick any of the prompts on it to do. We have much easier to read prompt cards now. So we have red, read a book you've thought about unhauling. Orange, read a book that was gifted to you. Yellow, read a book about a mythical or supernatural creature. Pink, read a book with an animal on the cover. Blue, read a book about witches. Teal, read a book you think will be heartwarming. Purple, read a hyped book that you're unsure about but want to love. Wow, that has floated way off screen. And green is to read a book with a cool series name. So we're starting off good because the first roll was a natural 20, which means that I can pick any prompt I want on the card regardless of what color we land on. but we did land on a dark blue space, which is a loot or treasure, which is kind of a weird way to start an adventure, but it's not unheard of. But the prompt that I ended up picking was the pink prompt. And just in case you were curious, it is a magical darkness is what pink is. So we found some loot and treasure in a magical darkness, or we found the loot and treasure and got thrown into some kind of magical darkness. Maybe it was a trap. But the prompt was to read a book with an animal on the cover. And for this, I chose Hollow Pox, which I do not have my physical copy with me right now, but it is the third book in the Trials of Morrigan Crow series, which I absolutely adore. And in my opinion, Harry Potter who? Read Morrigan Crow instead. But this is the third book in a series. I'm actually not sure if it's the last or if there will be more, but I am absolutely loving this series so much more than I thought I would. It is about a girl named Morrigan Crow who was basically born on a certain day that meant she was cursed to die on her 11th birthday or 12th birthday. I think it might be 12th. But instead of that happening, she gets taken to the world of Nevermore, where she learns some things about herself and what her curse actually was. So for roll number 2, we rolled a 13. So I'm gonna hop in frame and move my person real quick. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, which is purple. And the prompt for purple is to read a short book or novella. Man, this game is already being really good to me, so I can't complain. The second roll landed us on a purple space, which is a rest space. So after we come out of that crazy trapped magical darkness, we're gonna take a short rest here and find out what we need to do next. The prompt for this was to read a short book or novella, and I have plenty of those that I want to read. I only have one here with me, and that is The Black God's Drums. This is the one I'm putting as priority. I don't know all that much about it, except for it is a sort of steampunky alternate New Orleans. The other two that I really do want to read and may try to read if I have the time is Across the Green Grass Fields, and the other one is Drowned Country, which is the sequel to Silver in the Wood, which I adored. So for the third roll, we rolled a 19. So I'm going to hop in frame again and move myself 19 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So we landed on a yellow space, which means we do the yellow prompt. It's pretty self-explanatory. Read someone else's favorite book. Okay. The third roll landed us on a yellow space, which is a strange noise. So I guess we're drawn away from our resting time by a strange noise. And the prompt for this was to read someone else's favorite book, and I posted basically asking on Twitter, you know, what's your favorite book? And I picked the first one that someone recommended that I had on my shelf and was actually interested in. And that book was Kings of the Wild, and this was recommended by Holly Hart's Books. If you don't watch her channel, you should definitely do that because she reads a lot of adult fantasy, and if you need recommendations, I would definitely go there for them. So I don't really know a lot about Kings of the Wild other than it has some sort of musical element to it. It has obviously the fantasy element. I tend to like books published by Orbit, so I have high hopes for this, and I kind of want to go in blind so that my expectations aren't tainted for this book. So I've lost count. So the fourth roll is a 3. So 1, 2, 3. That is a teal space. So let's see what the prompt for teal is. I hope these are focusing. This is teal. Read an LGBT plus book. Can do. I have plenty of those. The fourth roll landed us on a teal space, which is a riddle. So the strange noise took us to a riddle somehow, probably down a bunch of random winding alleyways, pathways, against our better judgment most likely. But really all that matters is that we have found a riddle, probably carved into a wall and sketchy as hell. The prompt for this is to read an LGBT plus book. For this, I have chosen The Unspoken Name. This is one I've had my eye on for a long time. I know very little about it, other than apparently it has bi rep in it, and I had no idea, but that's honestly, not gonna lie, why I bought it. So our fifth roll turned out to be 6. So we're gonna go 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that is orange. So let's see what our orange prompt is. and that is to read a book with a 3-word title. I can probably do that. The 5th roll landed us on an orange space, which is a secret passageway. So we have solved the riddle, and it opened a door to a secret passageway to somewhere, probably somewhere not great, just gonna guess. And the prompt for this is to read a book with a 3+ word title. For this, I'm gonna be reading a book that my friend has been begging me to read. It is the continuation of the Mistborn trilogy, The Well of Ascension, which is the 2nd book in the series, which I do not have a physical copy of, but I am really looking forward to it. After the way the last one ended, I'm not sure where exactly this is going. The 6th roll is 11. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Has yellow again, 2nd yellow of the game. Let's see, the prompt for that is to read a book involving music. I think I can do that. The 6th roll landed us on a yellow space, which is another strange noise, because of course it is. And the prompt for this is to read a book involving music, which I have several of those. I think I mentioned that Kings of the Wild, I thought, had musical elements to it. But for this one, I'm gonna pick a manga that I've really wanted to get to, and that is Whisper Me, a love song, which I don't have my copy with me right now, so enjoy this photo here. It has sort of been talked about as the Yuri version of Given, which is another music-oriented manga that I really like, which is what kind of made me decide to pick this one up in the first place, and I really need to get to it. And our final roll was 4. Which is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's very fitting. Our last roll leads us to a monster space, the big boss battle of the game. So, okay, let's roll and see what we get. So our first roll was 10, which means that we're gonna roll again, to see if we can get either above or below 10 to defeat the monster or lose to the monster. And, this roll's 16, so that means we win. That means we don't have to do a specific challenge for the monster, which means technically we only have 6 books to read this month. But just because I want to know, I wonder what the monster prompt, if I can get it out of here, would have been. So it would have been a random pick to pick an unread book from your unread physical TBR book at random. Wow, I didn't write that very well. So using whatever methods are available to me, I would pick a random book, whether that's using Goodreads or the app that I use to keep my physical TBR as a list. But since we don't have to do it, that's cool. If I read all of my other books, maybe I'll go ahead and do it anyway, but probably not. And the last roll, the most fitting thing that could have happened. We landed on a monster space. Things got a little bit dicey, but in the end, we conquered the beast. We won the battle, which means that we don't have to take its consequence, and that means we have 1 less book that we have to read this month. So I'm a little bit of an idiot, and I misread my own chart. Yeah. So a 15 for initiative should have been 8 rolls, not 7, but it's too late because we're already through. So I posted a poll on Twitter and had you guys decide which graphic novel you would prefer me read out of a couple of different choices. And those choices were The Wicked and the Divine Volume 2, Raven, Daughter of Darkness Volume 1, The Sandman Volume 1, and Scooby Apocalypse Volume 1. And the one that you guys ended up choosing for me to read is one that I am really excited about, and that is Sandman Volume 1. I have had this for a while, and I've heard great things from a lot of people about this. So I'm very happy with this choice, not gonna lie. I would have been happy with any of those choices because I am interested in reading all of those, but I am, I think, finally being forced to read this because it is sort of intimidating because it is so praised. This is gonna, you know, speed me along in actually getting to it. So those are all of the books that Tabletop TBR chose for me. I'm not gonna hold them up because some of them I don't have physical copies for, so, you know, they're not there. That is it for January's Tabletop TBR. Don't forget that if you enjoyed this video, please go down there and hit that like button for me. Also, if you're interested in seeing more of my content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I will talk to you guys next time.